Right. So first of all, there's things called interest-only loans.
What letter is this?
This is D. So interest-only loans, you just pay the interest off and the amount owing stays the same. So the amount owing stays the same. Alright, so you only pay the interest. Each payment. Shut that door. Who smells for a very loud voice? Alright, so you might think, well, why would you do that? And it's usually if you're borrowing. So it's useful if borrowing for investments. Where the value of the investment is going to increase. So typically very common is when people borrow for, say, investment property. And sometimes for shares as well. Alright. And it has a bit to do with the tax benefits. Okay, so if you're doing your borrowing for an investment, it's a bit more complicated than this, but you can claim interest as an expense on your investment, but not any more than that. So if the interest was $100 and you paid $120, you could only claim the $100 interest, not the $120 you paid. So it gets a bit more complicated. But, excuse me. So simply that's it. So when we did the other day, we did our, so this is, and I remember, those who weren't here the other day, in the menu, on the second page of the menu, this financial one here, and the compound interest one's the one we're interested in. So, our present value, or our principal value, and our future value, when we do these, will be the same. Right. So, if we borrow $10,000, the future value here will be $10,000. So the amount that you owe doesn't go down. A little bit more complicated than that. Depends on whether the money's coming to you or going away from you, as we mentioned the other day. So, present value, if it was $10,000, then the future value would be negative $10,000 because you've got to pay that back. That's how much you've got to pay back, remember? The PV was how much money comes to you. So if I borrow $10,000, $10,000 comes to me. The future value is how much I've got to pay back of that $10,000. Money going away from me. So if I get money, it's positive. If money goes from me, it's negative. All right, so let's have a look at an example. Alright, so in our example, Spirit borrows $180,000 to buy an investment property, negotiates an interest-only loan at a rate of 7.6 per annum, compounding fortnightly, and we want to find out what his repayment would be each fortnight. Alright, so here we've got, so for those who weren't here last lesson, there's this help tab down the bottom, so if you forget what any of these things mean, you click on that help tab. So this N is the number of instalment periods. The next one down is the annual interest rate as a percent. PV, present value, so the initial investment that is. PMT, sorry, I'm clicking on the wrong thing. The amount paid each time. Future value, so that's how much you owe now or whatever. PY is how many instalment periods per year, and CY how many times it's compounded per year. So, with this here, the interest rate in percent per annum is 7.6. We know that. It's compounding fortnightly. So compounding fortnightly. How many fortnights are there in a year? 26, so 26 times per year. And so the fortnightly repayment as well, same thing, 26 times per year. Now because this is an interest-only loan, how much he borrows and how much he owes will be the same. Now how much he borrows is the PV, so he borrows, that's the PV, and when you borrow money, you get given that money. So the bank's given you money, in this case $180,000 to do something with. Alright, so you're getting money, so it's positive at 180,000. The future value, because it's interest-only loan, the future value, how much he owes, will still be $180,000. But because he owes it, he's got to give that back to the bank. So that's money going away from him. Negative. Now, the other thing that I haven't done is the top one, the number of compounding periods that we want to look at. And then the key to that comes from this, what is his fortnightly repayment? Alright, so fortnight is the compounding period. So if we want to know how much here, he pays for one fortnight repayment. So in this case, what we're going to do is we're going to put, because we want to know what one payment is, so we'll write that down here. We want one payment. So what we're going to do is put n is equal to 1. Alright, so if you put more than 1 here, when you come with the payment, it'll give you how much total you've paid. Alright, so let's fill it in. One payment's what we want to know. 7.6 is the amount of interest. He's borrowed 180,000, and he will owe, because he's only paying interest, he will owe 180,000. How many payments are there a year? 26. How many times does it compound in a year? 26.
Wait, what's the difference between those two things?
Usually they're exactly the same. Usually your compounding period and your payment period will be the same, but you may have something compounding fortnightly, but you only pay every month, or vice versa. You might have something that compounds monthly and you decide to pay every fortnight. But usually they're the same. All right, and then what do we want to know? We want to know what the payment's going to be. So you click on that and it tells you the answer. So the answer is $526.15. Now it's a negative, and we know a negative means goes out, so he's paying.
Wait, how do you do that? Wait, how do you get the answer?
Yeah, just see there's the box next to it, PMT, payment. Just click on it. Then it will calculate. All right, so his payment is
So how do you find the answer? How do you press enter? Just click on. Oh, yeah, don't worry, I take it back.
right. So got all that. We want to know payment. There's a button there. Click on the button. There it is.
Move that way just a little bit. Other way.
All right. So each payment that Stuart's got to make, $526. And then he's paying off the interest, and the what he owes stays the same. So that then, eventually down the track, he might decide he's going to sell that house. It would have gone up in value. He'll have more than 180,000 to pay out the loan, and then some to stick in his pocket. All right, interest only
So
loan.
can you just move 2 seconds so I can take it?
Sorry.
That's good, you can go back now.
All right, the next thing we're going to look at is similar to this thing called annuities, and annuities are very common. In fact, superannuation is an annuity of sorts. So what an annuity is, it's an investment amount. So like superannuation, for example, because I'm working and no people work, you put money into that superannuation fund and it earns interest and away you go. And so then when I retire, I'll have this money in my superannuation fund, and because I need to buy food and pay bills and stuff, I'm going to have to get some money from that superannuation fund. But also, that superannuation fund, because it's still got some money in it, it's going to be earning interest on it, and I take it all out, and I'm going to take bits of it out. And while I take bits of it out, it's still going to earn some interest.
Is that why you can like put your super into like a risky or less risk?
Yeah, and risky or the less risky depends on how much interest. So more risky, you might get a higher interest rate, but what happens with those is risky ones, the interest rates tend to go up and down a lot. So the less risky one, they tend to only go up and down a little bit. And that's your choice. Right, so while I'm working, I put money in, it earns interest while I'm working. When I retire, I take bits out every month or whatever. Take bits out. What's still there still earns some interest. And eventually, I'll probably, what I take out, probably reduce that amount that's there. And so that's what's called an annuity. So what is an annuity? An annuity is an investment where you receive a payment. Alright, so, and then over time, the value will reduce. Alright.
Can I just briefly let these life insurance know that on Friday there is a chance for anyone who gets the form and the $5 in fairly quickly to session 4 and lunch, be able to go up the street and meet the Holden dealer V8 supercar drivers, Jamie Rinkup, Shane Van Gisbergen. They're up there talking. There will be a little bit about traffic safety, which is why we're pitching it at year 11 and 12. Because you guys are going to be out on the streets driving. That's not around Bathurst yet. So it's going out to all 11 and 12, but there's only 30 seats available. So I've got commission forms here if you want one. Otherwise, it's on Compass and $5.
Alright. Okay, let's have a look at an example. And again, the example we're going to use our solver here. Yeah, that was all there.
Awesome. So that everyone will know about it.
Everyone will know about it. All my 3 YouTube channel followers don't know.
So what's your channel called? Because I can't find it. Like, what are you called?
Instant.
It's just my name, I think, isn't it?
It's Mark Sinnott and some numbers are pretty sure. So I haven't subscribed yet. So
I'll subscribe, sir.
Good.
like and subscribe.
Let me do this example. Alright. So, for our financial solver,
You got 4 subscriptions. So
oh, thanks.
It doesn't come up. I don't know what you're searching, but
Alright, so for our financial solver for an annuity, your PV
picture of him with that.
would be negative. So the present value of your annuity,
I found it.
because saving this, as I said in this form of superannuation, the reason that that's negative is because I put the money in there in the first place. So money went from me into there. So I get whatever it is, 9% or 11% or whatever it is from my wage taken out, gets put in there. So that's why it's negative. But my payment, of course, that's coming to me, so the payment could be positive. Alright, so, each month, here I am.
So most of your videos have no views.
I'm getting some, yeah, people don't like me.
The most one has 2 views.
Alright, and the other thing is your future value. Future value If it's positive, what that means is there's still money in there. To pay you. If it's zero, then it's fully paid out. So what that means is no more payments to you. Alright, so what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to do an example from the textbook, so to save you writing it all out. So we're going to look at the textbook, page 333, example 13. Alright, and when we look at this, it says Joe invests $200,000 into an annuity, paying 5% compound interest per annum, compounding monthly. So because Joe invests that money into that annuity, that money, Joe's put that in. So money's gone from Joe into the annuity. So that means the present value is negative $200,000. The interest rate that Joe gets paid on that is 5%, and it's compounding monthly, so that'll be 12. So depending on what Joe wants from it, depends on how the rest of it pans out. So in the first one it says if he wishes to be paid monthly payments for 10 years, how much will he receive each month? So he wants a monthly payment. So a monthly payment, that's the PY, how often is he going to be paid? He's going to be paid monthly, so 12 times in the year. How long does he want to be paid for? So that's where the N comes in, the number of payments that he gets. Well, there's 12 per year, but he wants it for 10 years, so we're going to times that by 10. So he's going to get 120 payments. All right. Now, how much is he going to have at the end of his 10 years? Anyone? Zero, exactly. All right. So of this 200,000 that he's put in, he wants to get paid with that for 10 years, and after that, it's all gone. So his future value is zero. All right. So let's have a look. So the number of payments. Let's go back up here. 120. His interest rate was 5. He put the money in, so it's negative. Future value, he wants nothing left. And gets paid 12 times a year in interest, is compounded 12 times a year. And the payment, how much he's going to receive every month, is what we're looking at.
But I'm confused, sir. Why is he paying $200,000 and not getting any money?
He is getting money, and that's what we're going to work out. So it's like it might be superannuation, for example. So over his working life, he's put 200,000 of his money into this fund, so that when he retires, no longer working and getting money from work, he can get money from that to live on.
So why is the future value 0?
Depends on how it's worded, and it says he wants to get monthly payments for 10 years. So he just wants that 200,000 to last for 10 years, and that's it.
Right.
So that's why it's going to be 0 at the end. If he wanted it to last for 20 years, it would still be 0, but then the number of payments would be different.
Right. Okay.
So 12 payments for 10 years, 120 payments altogether. So click on the payment button. There you go. He gets $2,121.31 each month. All right. And how do we know that that's what he gets? Because it is
Positive.
positive.
Is it?
So remember, positive coming to you, negative going away. All right, so we get $2,121.31 per month. All right. All right, the next part, part B, says if he receives a regular monthly payment. So this one, some of the things that have changed. So this stuff here stays the same, but some of the other stuff. So he's getting a payment. Keep my colours all right. So his payment that he's getting, we're told that he's getting $3,000 a month. So he's getting $3,000 a month. How long will the annuity last? So future value, again, 0. Our payments per year, still 12. That one hasn't changed. And the question is, how long is that going to last? So when we do that, this N is the number of payments. All right. So let's put that in. 120 is gone because that's what we're trying to figure out. His payment here is $3,000 a month. Oops. $3,000 a month. Everything else is still the same. How many times is he going to get paid out? Click on the N. 78.26 times he's going to get. So he's going to get 78.26 payments. Now it says give your answer to the nearest month on the question. So to the nearest month, he's going to get 78 payments, which of course is 78 months. And you divide by 12 if you wanted to know how many years that was. All right. So that's that. And then B. All right. So that's B. C. C is another twist on it. So in C it says what interest rate would he need, correct one, to allow him to withdraw $2,500 a month for 10 years. So a lot of this stuff is the same. Number of payments per year is the same, 12. What has changed? His payment is not 3,000, it is 2,500 this time. His number of payments that he gets, again if it's 10 years, it's 12 times 10, 120. His future value will be 0 if it's all paid out. And what we want to know is what interest rate are we going to need? All right, so we again go back to our solver. 10 years, 120. Interest rate this time's the thing we're after, so clear that one. Payment is 2,500. Everything else is the same. And click on the interest rate button and 8.689. 8.689, correct one decimal place is
8.7.
8.7%. All right, that's that. Any further questions? All right, so interest-only loans, annuities, that's 9D and E.
Now you have to say, like, make sure you like and subscribe.
Oh yeah, and make sure you like and subscribe.
Hell yeah. Legislative impact.
Now you